Damn, this speaks to me. I also used a Nintendo DSi from 2009 to 2010 with one eye open and my fingers going like that. So why not take a look at the Nintendo catalog 09 to 10. For some reason, they're doing like a weird underscore there. You know, no judgment. But yeah, this catalog covers pretty much some of the final big years of the Nintendo DS. 2009 here was when the Nintendo DSi launched in North America, but also we have the Wii. We can see here we got Wii Motion Plus in full effect. This was kind of in that awkward middle phase of the Wii life. I think the Wii had an incredible like first year or so, and then an incredible like, you know, latter half, you know, like not necessarily like the last few years, because the last few years of Wii were rough. But like 2010 to even 2011, you know, we were getting like Mario Galaxy 2, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Zelda Skyward Sword, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, lots of quality stuff. But like from 2008 to 2009, it kind of felt like Nintendo was kind of getting by on the fact that like, okay, Mario Kart Wii and Smash Bros. Brawl launched in like early 2008. You had Animal Crossing at the end of 2008. And then New Super Mario Bros. Wii in 2009. There you go. But let's take a look in this catalog, so then we're transported back during this exact era. So I don't actually know when this came out. I assume like at the tail end of 2009 if it's going into 2010. But here we have like a pink DSi, and yeah, they're going over just DS in general, DSi, DSiWare, DS Games, Gift Guide, and then the Wii. With WiiWare and Wii games. So pretty standard stuff overall. Here we have just, you know, it just goes over like, okay, we're in the DS territory now. Here we can see how they're advertising DS Lite and DSi, which were the two main you know, pillars of the DS family. Original DS was gone. I don't think DSi XL was a thing quite yet. It might have come out in Japan at the time. I think like late 2009 was when the DSi XL became a thing. But the DSi was definitely kind of like a big leap forward for the DS. I mean, it was more of like a big half leap forward. Definitely not a brand new console, but it kind of took the core of the DS and just kind of modernized it enough. You know, gave it a user interface that didn't feel like it was like stuck in like a weird like flip phone era. And just having like the DSi shop and, you know, better connectivity, camera system, all of that good stuff. You know, it just kind of felt like, you know, the DSi actually, you know, like was born in 2009 rather than like the DS Lite, which, you know, had its roots as like a 2004 handheld. Here we have just a DSi little infographic, as well as just like a little bit about DS. Nintendo DS revolutionized handheld gameplay with 2 ultra bright screens, 3D graphics, touchscreen technology, and wireless communication. You can challenge yourself or your friends anywhere, anytime. I find it interesting how they do push how the DS has 3D graphics. You know, obviously that's not like its strongest suit. It can do it, but you know, like, oh damn, I've never even seen that slogan with the DSi. What will you and I do? Wouldn't that be funny if that was like the U from the Wii U logo? Welcome the Nintendo DSi. The DSi system is a high-powered handheld video game system in a sleek folding design with features like touchscreen control. That's the same as the DS. Saying it's a high-powered handheld and then like all of these things are just like stuff that the DS has always had. In the world of software, Nintendo DSi will be the platform for the most relevant and fun on-the-go games and applications. You're not even talking about like any of the unique things the DSi brings. But yeah, I was really excited for the DSi. Just the fact that like, oh my god, my DS has cameras and all these cool applications. I can download games. Like, it just seemed like oh my god, like I have to have this thing. It's so cool. You know, in retrospect, I don't think it made a ton of sense to you know, spend all my hard-earned allowance money that I was saving up for months and had to trade in my DS Lite and everything to get it when, you know, like it is pretty much just another DS. A DS without a Game Boy Advance slot, mind you, so I was getting, you know, less features in many ways. When I could have spent that money on, like, a new game system, I could have bought a PSP! I always wanted a PSP! That would have been sick! I mean, I'm happy I got a DSi, though. I mean, I got a lot of good times out of this system, especially when it came to downloading stuff. I didn't have Wi-Fi back then, so I had to like, like rummage around in my front yard trying to find a Wi-Fi spot I could steal off of my neighbors. And I found one, and I was able to download Flipnote Studio. Always loved Flipnote Studio. And then when I was in like a hotel room which had free Wi-Fi, I was able to download a couple of DSiWare games that way. I believe I got like Dr. Mario Express and WarioWare Snapped. Eventually, once I actually got Wi-Fi, like I downloaded a couple other games, specifically this one right here. Enjoy titles like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Minis March Again. This was kind of like one of the big games Nintendo pushed on DSiWare because like it was almost like an actual game. It's pretty much like a full new game, just completely based off of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2. It has like different, gameplay elements. I think the main thing is with Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, you can start and stop the minis walking whenever you want. In this game, and I believe moving forward in the series, when you start the minis, they don't stop. They just keep on going, which honestly makes for just like a more hectic, more interesting gameplay style. So, this is probably a little better. And it was like probably like $8 or something at the time. So, you definitely got like a decent amount of content with this game right here. But I think the main problem with a lot of Nintendo's DSiWare releases and DSiWare releases in general, where it was like a lot of the big ones were just kind of like, like versions of retail games just kind of cut down a lot. Like there you got like Need for Speed Nitro on the DS, and they put out Need for Speed Nitro X on DSiWare. Nitro X is literally just like a cut down version of Nitro, which, at the time I think it made some sense because, instead of carrying around a bunch of game cards, you could potentially carry around, your DSi with a couple of smaller versions of these games, just kind of like preloaded onto it. So then like, hey, you can jump in and play a little Need for Speed game or whatever, whenever you want. It kind of made sense at the time, but it does make, looking back at DSiWare, a lot of the games are just kind of redundant to like go to, Oh, the Nintendo points card. I have so many memories like begging my parents for one of these every now and then, and also kind of deciding if I wanted to use it on my Wii or DSi. I would definitely kind of like barter with them to get like a Wii points card some weekends. Just so I could download, something on the Wii Shop channel. And I remember kind of just like always debating like whether or not to get like 4 NES games on the Wii Shop channel because those are $5 each, so I get more stuff. But, like NES games are NES games, so, like they're not going to give you that much bang for your buck in some cases. Could get like a Super Nintendo game, could get an N64 game, or could go for a WiiWare game. That was always kind of interesting. I really do have a lot of nostalgia for visiting the Wii Shop channel and deciding how to spend my limited funds. But here we go into here. I believe this is kind of the big game for 2009 on the DS. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, generally considered like one of the best Mario and Luigi games. It's pretty much this and Superstar Saga. These are the two big ones. And I remember reading about this game in Nintendo Power all the time. It always seemed super interesting and really, really cool. I played a bit of it on the DS since then, but I definitely do need to warrant just like sitting down and just getting into this game. But as it stands, I do know like this is definitely like one of the best Mario and Luigi games. A series that's definitely kind of like had some ups and downs, but I feel like it's generally like good. Like there's not really a bad Mario and Luigi game. The worst Mario and Luigi game is just like, it's fine. We move into Scribblenauts. This was like a huge deal. Just such a cool idea. This genuinely felt like such an innovative release. The fact that you could write anything and see it appear. Of course, I think Super Scribblenauts introduced like adjectives, and then Scribblenauts had like Scribblenauts Unlimited on the Wii U and 3DS, and then Scribblenauts Unmasked, which was a follow-up to Unlimited, which focused on DC characters, which I felt like was kind of like a, okay, that's cool, I guess, but it's like kind of like a weird like pivot. I really enjoyed Scribblenauts Remix on iOS. That was like an app version of Scribblenauts. It was only like $5. I played that a fair amount on like my iPad back in the day. Scribblenauts is just always like a really cool series. I think I respect it a lot more than like I really love playing it. Like I think it's just neat, and like overall, like it's just one of the most respectable puzzle platforming games out there. It's not like super addictive or anything, or it's not like, oh man, wow, these puzzles are crazy. I think it really does strive on like just the fact that like, yeah, like it lives up to its slogan of like, yeah, just write stuff and see it appear. That alone makes Scribblenauts really cool. It is a franchise that I hope kind of gets a little more love. They did Scribblenauts Showdown, like on the Switch in like 2018, but that did nothing for me, man. The concept is kind of cool, you know, kind of bringing, you know, Scribblenauts into like a multiplayer kind of thing. But, you know, I think just kind of trying to do like a legitimate bigger Scribblenauts release. They did like ports of Unlimited and Unmasked, you know, from the Wii U onto other platforms, so that's at least something. But man, what a cool little game there. Here we have kind of like some random third-party releases. Wow, this is rough. Bakugan Battle Brawlers, I think this is like one of the most like clearance bin games out there. I'm not a Bakugan guy. I don't have any horse in this race, I'm gonna be honest. But you know, I went to a Walgreens one time. I saw their stack of games. Bakugan Battle Brawlers was one of them for like $5, maybe 20. It was like one of these games that was like, yeah, it's gonna be at the dollar store. It's like one of those weird, elusive, like modern video games that you'd see at like, you know, one of the cheap end stores, and like they had like a weird selection. In fact, I'd say this like assortment of games is the exact selection of games that you'd see appearing at like a Five Below, a Dollar General, whatever, in their very limited video game section. At least I like My Sims Agents, which, you know, I only played the Wii version. I never played any of the DS My Sims games, but Agents was kind of cool. Definitely not the same as like a My Sims or My Sims Kingdom, which kind of felt more like actual Sims, like spin-off games. You know, they were obviously like a spin-off of The Sims, even if they, you know, kind of turned The Sims into more of like a Animal Crossing style game, while also, you know, maintaining elements of, you know, the parent franchise. Agents was definitely more of like just a flat-out adventure game, which I thought was interesting. You know, and then the last game they did for a while was My Sims Sky Heroes, which that makes no damn sense to me. What the hell is a Sky Hero? You know, it felt like they had such generic like topics for each of the My Sims games before, like My Sims Kingdom, and then Party, and then Racing, and now it's like, yeah, they're Sky Heroes. Here we go. These are all Nintendo releases here. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Sky. I'm not a Mystery Dungeon guy, not a Pokemon guy. I got nothing. I think I've been told that Mystery Dungeon fans consider Explorers of Sky to be one of the greatest stories ever told. I'll take your word for it. Pokemon Platinum version. We have Legendary Starfy, which was the first time this franchise ever hit North America. It was a Japan-only franchise for a while. Like, there's like 4 or 5 games or something that are Japanese exclusive. They eventually hit Nintendo Switch Online, which was really cool. You know, they got their start on the Game Boy Advance. But it's really weird to me that Starfy, like, never got outside of Japan until this entry on the DS, and this was the last entry. Felt like it was like there's nothing about this franchise that seems like, oh wow, this would never work in North America. It's like a Kirby game with a little starfish. What about that is hard to get in English? Fossil Fighters, yeah, sure. I feel like there's definitely some major fans of Fossil Fighters. I don't really care. It's weird. I didn't realize there was a second game on DS. I knew there was like the 3DS game, which like kind of came out of nowhere, like Fossil Fighters Frontier. Like that was like one of those like, oh, a DS game series that we're bringing over to 3DS, and it does nothing. Stuff like Art Academy on 3DS, Brain Age on 3DS, Crosswords Plus on 3DS. You know, they all had like DS origins, and it just kind of felt like, damn, like these just feel out of place on this handheld. Here we have Style Savvy. Yeah, they're pretty much just going for like a very like, hey, we're trying to hit everybody with with this DS lineup. I've heard the Style Savvy games are not that bad for what they are. In fact, I played one of the 3DS games for footage, and I don't really care to play it again, but for what it was, it was perfectly fine. Here we got Spirit Tracks. So, you know, while the DS was definitely winding down around this time, they still definitely had some pretty big releases. You know, specifically, I mean, like, hey, we're getting a brand new mainline Zelda game. I've always heard mixed things about the DS Zelda games. Of course, just controlling them, it feels just kind of like, you know, weird. It's not like it doesn't work. It's more so like, I don't really want to control a game like this. And a Zelda game on top of that, you know, like it just feels more like you're leading Link, rather than you are Link. But I've heard Spirit Tracks is generally the better of the two DS games. So, you know, eventually I'll kind of get into these. But you know, they're kind of low on my priority list in terms of, you know, going through them. I've at least tried them both. And Spirit Tracks is definitely pretty interesting. I think it is very cool how Zelda plays a bigger role in this game. The train stuff is an interesting new addition. But overall, you know, like I still haven't played a ton of this one, so who knows? Cop? Is this pronounced C-O-P? Are these periods? I've never heard of this one here. This says it's the first 3D open world game on Nintendo DS. That's pretty wild. I didn't know that was a thing. I knew this was a thing here. Still don't necessarily know how to properly pronounce this title. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. I don't know. Pretty impressive game overall on the DS being completely 3D. Definitely a step above Chain of Memories on the GBA. Except that was really cool because that at least had like this full like CGI opening to it. It's crazy. But that had like this card battling system, I believe. I don't know. I'm not that into the Kingdom Hearts stuff. But this at least was pretty impressive for the DS. It's not included in like the Kingdom Hearts like, you know, collections. It just has like the cutscenes from this game. Because I'm sure they were like, either this game isn't very necessary outside of like the couple of story beats. I believe like the cutscenes in this game, in the collection, is like 20 plus hours long. Okay, it's actually just about 3 hours long, but damn, still. But yeah, either way, like I feel like they were just like, this would be a bitch to remake. I feel like you practically have to just like do it from the ground up if you would actually have to remake this. So I'm sure they were just like, just throw the cutscenes in the collection. We got Modern Warfare Mobilized. It's kind of weird that like they removed the 2 from this. This was kind of supposed to release right alongside Modern Warfare 2. And I find the Call of Duty games on DS interesting because like you'd think they'd be incredibly bad. And I don't really think many of them are worth playing outside of like novelty purposes, but it's like they're very impressive for what they are. That's the thing. It is really cool that you have like a pretty like substantial first-person shooter available on the DS, and the way like the controls work with like, you know, aiming with the touchscreen and moving with the D-pad, like it works. It may not be ideal, but like damn, it does the job. And the fact that they have online multiplayer and everything is also like it's incredible. You know, overall, like I don't think any of these games are really worth a damn at all, but impressive. Like I would say like wow, like good effort. Here we have Professor Layton in the Diabolical Box. I actually haven't played any of the other DS Professor Layton games. I only played the first one. I think I kind of wanted this one. I played a lot of Curious Village, but I believe, like, I would say probably the best DS game at least seems like it's, like, The Last Spectre, because that one has, like, this full-blown, like, RPG side mode. Like, it's like 2 games in 1. Here we have James Patterson Women's Murder Club. What? Become a member of the Women's Murder Club on your DS/DSi. Why do they specify? No other game really specifies like, oh, maybe on your DS, maybe on your DSi. Whatever works for you, buddy. Cooking Mama 3. I kind of don't know much about the Cooking Mama games outside of like the first 2. And what I mean by that is like, you know, like Cooking Mama 3, this logo just looks bizarre to me. Like, it feels like it doesn't exist. I feel like Cooking Mama and Cooking Mama 2, and then the 2 Wii games, that's about the extent of, like, how Cooking Mama goes when it comes to, like, yeah, that feels about right. Everything after that just feels like, wow, what is going on here? I stopped paying attention. But Cooking Mama series, like, I do know, the series has potential. Like, you know, like, they're kind of cute minigame collections, but, like, they just kept doing the same thing over and over again. Even, like, the games that do, like, a different kind of thing, like Gardening Mama, like, it's all the same. This is kind of cool. Like, they have, like, little stickers you can peel off, and you can put on the things that You want, need, love? That is kind of cool. And you can also tear this out, like it's perforated right there. So that's at least a little something. Ooh, it's like a little pull-out thing. We have a little new Super Mario Brothers Wii, little box art, little ad here. That's pretty cool. And then, you know, we open this up. Great games for gifting. So they're advertising Wii Sports Resort, Mario and Sonic Winter, Lego Indiana Jones 2. Okay. I guess that kind of shows the Wii was not getting a ton of great, like, you know, whatever, mainstream third-party support in late 2009. They also have to show, like, Band Hero here. You know, I mean, like, you know, it was all big. This was, like, still during the music game craze. But I do think Band Hero is kind of where, like, things started to get pushed a little too much. I always viewed Band Hero as really weird. What makes this different from, like, Guitar Hero World Tour? I think it's mostly down to the songs included. I believe the songs in Band Hero are a little more, like, poppy, a little more varied in terms of what's available, where Guitar Hero is pretty much all, like, rock-based. Kind of weird they put Wii Fit Plus and Wii Fit Plus here. Oh, it actually makes sense, because Wii Fit Plus was available as a standalone game for, like, 20 bucks. So, you know, you could just buy that if you already had the balance board. Mario Kart Wii, which was a 2008 game, buddy. New Super Mario Bros. Wii was the big holiday release. I will always remember in 2009 when I was at, like, the family Christmas, which was like, okay, you know, you do your presents from your mom and dad and everything, and then you go to the, you know, the extended family for Christmas. And the present I got there was New Super Mario Bros. Wii from, like, my cousin's boyfriend at the time. And I was like, oh my God, like, I was not expecting that. That's a $50 Wii game. Like, that's crazy. I just didn't expect, like, a premium present like that from anybody outside of, like, you know, the direct parents. So that was sweet. Here they're going into the DS stuff here, which primarily is just kind of the same old stuff we just saw. And oh, circle the games you want. So they were really pushing this as a little gift guide. And then we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. Because now, I believe, we should be moving into the Wii section, even though here, we're still talking about some DS stuff. Some games never go out of style. Here are some titles that have stood the test of time and continue to be great fun for everyone. So, yeah, they're kind of just talking about some of the games that have released in previous years, even though, you know, they were advertising Pokemon Platinum in here. Which is weird, because this game released in 2009. I don't know. I mean, they have Mario Kart Wii here, even though they had Mario Kart Wii on the gift guide section. This is weird. But yeah, here we go over to the Wii section. Here they're talking about Wii Motion Plus, which was the new thing at the time. You know, I remember Wii Sports Resort launched in the summer of 2009, so this was a big deal. You know, just the fact that the Wii Remote could actually do what Nintendo promised that it could do. Oh, it can read your exact movements. Which, you know, like, was what was kind of implied, like, in, like, 2006 trailers for the Wii, where they were like, oh, yeah, you can, you know, jump behind the couch and take cover and use the Wii Remote as a gun. Yeah, no, that doesn't matter. Damn, they're still pushing the Wii Zapper. I remember, I bought a Wii Zapper at GameStop. I was just, this was in my weird phase, you know? This is when I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll buy that, even though it makes no sense, and I'm not gonna like it. I don't like the Wii Zapper. But besides the point, you know, I wanted to buy a Wii Zapper for like 20 bucks. You know, that was the going rate. I believe it was like 25 actually. That was like the MSRP. And, you know, I wanted that because it came with like Link's crossbow training and everything. And, you know, my mom came in and, you know, I think the dude at the counter was like, hey, would you like to buy the used version of the Wii Zapper? Save some money. My mom was like, yeah, go for it. Do it. And I was overwhelmed at the time. I was like, I didn't want to say no. I want the new one because I want it brand new and I want it to come with Link's crossbow training. And on the road home, I was like, Mom, I didn't want it used. And she was like, why didn't you say something? So I ended up returning the used Wii Zapper, and then I bought the new one, and I still didn't like it. I liked Link's crossbow training. I love that game. Wii Zapper itself, though, I don't need that stinking ass thing. Still pushing the Wii Speak too. I'd say the Wii Speak is probably the most failed, like, officially Nintendo released Wii accessory. Like, it was, like, what, used by, like, 10 games? At least the Wii Zapper and, like, Wii Wheel, like, I mean, like, these had their time in the sun. Wii Zapper sold a couple million, and, hey, I mean, like, pretty much all first-person shooters on the Wii say, we are compatible with the Wii Zapper. And I say to that, it is a hunk of plastic. Every game is compatible with the Wii Zapper. Same with the Wii Wheel, but at the very least, like, I feel like they had their place, and they were, you know, compatible with certain games. Wii Speak, like, it was, like, what, Animal Crossing? What? Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, congratulations.
Download new and classic games to your Wii console. So I was going over the Wii Shop channel stuff, which I already talked about, but you know, they show off Mario 3, Mario Kart 64, World of Goo, which, you know, that was kind of seen as like, this was the big boy WiiWare game. That was the WiiWare game to pick up. And I still think World of Goo probably feels the best on the Wii. Like, that just works the best with pointer controls. Here we have Wii Fit Plus. I was pretty jazzed about this. I asked this for like my birthday for like my uncle, because it was only like 20 bucks for just the regular game right there. It had some really cool looking little mini game additions, you know, and just the fact that you could also weigh your cat and dog. I couldn't weigh my dog at the time because the dog I had was like a Labrador. So it's just like, he was a big boy. Couldn't really hold him or anything. The cat though, hell yeah, I weighed the shit out of that cat. I think the main thing that really drove me to Wii Fit Plus was the obstacle course minigame. I believe during like the E3 press conference, they were talking about Wii Fit Plus, and they were like, and finally you can step foot into Mario's shoes and see what it's like to jump around and go through an obstacle course. And I was like, oh, hot damn, that sounds cool. In reality, it's not really like you're stepping foot in Mario shoes. It's just kind of a fun little obstacle course mini game, but I liked it. Wii Sports Resort, yeah, I was really hyped about this game. This might be like the first game that I was ever like hyped about and like was begging for its release. Outside of like Sonic Unleashed, I think that was a big one. The Simpsons game was another. A bunch of the SpongeBob games. God damn, this is kind of embarrassing. But Wii Sports Resort was the first game that I ever like pre-ordered. I put money down on this game. I've told this story before, but yeah, it was like, what did I have to do? I ended up putting money down on the game at one GameStop, and then I went to another GameStop when Wii Sports Resort released, and I thought that money would transfer over to that location. It didn't, but I couldn't help myself, and I ended up buying Wii Sports Resort, even though I had money down on it at the other GameStop. My mom was kind of annoyed at me that day. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic game, also available on DS and DSi. What are you talking about with like separating the DS and DSi like this? This is definitely like one of the better Mario and Sonic games. I'm not a huge fan of the series. I mean, I have like some love for it. I played the original back in the day, and I liked it enough, but it was like one of those games that like the concept alone sold you, and then when you actually play it, you're like, okay. Like, you can't really say it's bad, but it's also like, it doesn't really live up to, you know, your wild imagination of like, oh man, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games? And then you play it and you're like, oh, okay. It's Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. But Olympic Winter Games actually kind of like was a huge step forward in terms of quality. And then everything after this, outside of like London 2012 Olympic Games, which, you know, was also pretty good, it just felt like they were really struggling to like maintain like a lot of quality, or at least kind of validate the reason why they're doing more outside of the fact that, well, there's more Olympic Games happening in real life, so we'll do 2014 Sochi. We go into New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Incredible. Classic Mario adventure that everyone can enjoy at the same time. The multiplayer aspect of New Super Mario Bros. Wii was huge. Just being able to play 4-player multiplayer simultaneously, that was like a dream come true. I mean, Mario games only really had multiplayer where it's like, okay, you go as Mario, and then the other player goes as Luigi, and then go as Mario, and then go as Luigi. I think back when I even like played like the NES games at my grandma's house, I kind of felt like when I'd see like, oh yeah, 2-player mode, like this is what I was picturing. And they had multiplayer for like the DS game, So it's just like, you know, they kind of already started this, but like, you know, home console is going to be a lot different. Just being able to like sit around with everybody with 4 controllers, definitely a lot easier and a lot, you know, a lot more substantial multiplayer support than the DS game had. But New Super Mario Bros. Wii was like a big deal at the time. It's something that, like, looking back at, you know, like I'm not really gonna get a ton out of like replaying through, other than just like basic ass fun. It's a good time, but like, you know, you're not gonna get like that really like, oh my god, this beautiful crazy experience. It's just a good ass 2D classic Mario game. We move over to the music games. We got Band Hero, Guitar Hero 5, and DJ Hero. I always find it weird when game series don't number one entry and then they go back and act like nothing ever happened. Calling this one Guitar Hero 5. This is when I think like people started to kind of fizzle out. I believe, you know, like I don't remember a ton of people really talking about Guitar Hero 5. It was Guitar Hero World Tour the year before that was like that was when things were at their peak. But it's like among these 3, like I remember this is when things started to become like a little too much. DJ Hero was cool. Like I think that was a cool kind of spin-off, a new direction to take the Hero series. Band Hero, I will maintain, barely ever made any sense. I'm just like, why not just put a lot of these songs in a Guitar Hero game? I mean, look over here. We got Rock Band, the Beatles Rock Band. I forget if was there an actual like big Rock Band release for 2009, or was this just it? Because Rock Band 1 was in 2007, I believe. Maybe, or was it 2008? It was Rock Band 2 2009? Oh god, I forget. But yeah, this wasn't like a horrible idea, them doing like band specific releases of Guitar Hero and Rock Band. But you know, I think like overall, like, I mean, like you just look at like all this crap they were releasing and the fact that all of these were in like these huge ass bundles. I mean, like it became too much. Rabbids Go Home, which was a really cool direction for the Rabbids franchise. You know, they were finally like going like, all right, we're not connected to Rayman anymore with Rayman Raving Rabbids. We're not a minigame collection. This is just a flat out like adventure game. They always label it as a comedy adventure, and it's pretty good for what it is. And then they never did anything like that ever again. Like the game that followed this was Raving Rabbids Travel Through Time, and it's like, what happened? Star Wars The Clone Wars, Lego Indiana Jones 2, which I feel like is like one of the weirdest Lego games. It's like, what the hell happened? You have Lego Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures, which covers the first 3 movies. And then you do this one pretty much just to cover Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And then they did like other levels from the first 3 movies. I'm like, what? And on top of that, this is where they started to do like that weird split screen thing in Lego games where it like twists and turns all around. It's disorienting. I hate it. Spectrobe's Origins. This was like a big Disney Interactive Studios game. I keep on getting this kind of mixed up with like a Capcom game for Wii. I kind of forget. I think Spyborgs, that's what I keep getting this mixed up with. But yeah, Disney Interactive Studios was really pushing certain like games. Like they were actually like really trying to be like a legitimate publisher until they kind of fizzled out in like 2016 or so. After like Disney Infinity, they were like, you know, we're good. We'll just license our stuff out. Ninja Turtles Smash Up, which, you know, had some developers from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I remember that being kind of a big part of like the advertising. I remember just seeing this in Nintendo Power, and I guess it's fine. It pretty much uses like a lot of the same designs as like, you know, from like the TMNT 2007 or something movie. You can play as Rabbids in this game. That's something. Nerf N-Strike Elite. There's actually kind of a cool thing with this game where, you know, it comes with a Nerf gun that you put your Weir mode in, and then it has like this like red like visor that comes up. And with that red visor, you can see like certain enemies or certain items or something on the game screen with it, which is pretty neat. Spore. Remember Spore? Labeled as the next coming of Jesus Christ? And I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ looks like Spore? I don't know. I got nothing on Spore, man. I gotta be honest. I never played any of the Spore stuff. I think I tried out like one of the Spore games on DS, which is weird. You know, like EA was pushing Spore as like the next Sims. I think like Will Wright, who created The Sims and SimCity and all of that stuff, like was really behind Spore, so like it was getting pushed for years as like, this is gonna be the next big thing. You can create your own monsters. And now like I don't think anybody even remembers Spore. Here we go, Punch Out. This is one of my favorite Wii games. This is genuinely like one of the best Wii games out there. The game brings immersive motion controls to an iconic franchise that has been around since the days of the NES. Punch-Out is weird, man. Like, pretty much, it feels like every game is like a remake of each other. Like, Punch-Out on Wii is a new game, but it brings back like pretty much nothing but old like characters to fight against, and they kind of follow a lot of their same like gimmicks from the NES and Super NES games. However, I still love this game. It's probably my favorite Punch-Out game, honestly. Like, I think this is incredible. I think the NES game is the easiest to just jump back into, but the animation in this one, the graphics, the feel of everything, I think that's the big thing. Like, it just feels good to land punches, and that is important in Punch-Out. In the NES game, I think it's kind of cute. It almost feels like your punches are doing, like, nothing, or, like, you're so weak in comparison to these opponents. Kind of makes it, like, that much more, like, apparent that, like, yeah, you have to be like skillful with like your mind, you know, this is a puzzle game, not about brute force. With that being said, I love Punch-Out on Wii. Everything just feels so good. It looks good. It sounds great. I would love to see Punch-Out come back. I think the 3DS would have made a lot of sense for Punch-Out. Just imagining, like, I feel like that would have been even easier to gauge, like, how far away, like, the boxer's fists are to your face, and you can, like, you know, time your, you know, dodges even more accurately. But, hey, I mean, like, if this is where the Punch-Out series ends, I mean, it's probably not. I mean, pretty much, I doubt any Nintendo franchise is truly dead. Probably in like 10, 20 years, you can expect to see something weird come back. But if this is where Punch-Out ends, I think this was a damn good way to go out. I think it also sold pretty well too, like over 1 million or so, which is crazy for like, yeah, this is a revival of an old NES game. Here we have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, the Crystal Bearers. Yeah, the only Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles game I know about on the Wii is the one that's like a direct port of a DS game, and you have like the two screens like that. That's weird. Shaun White snowboarding and NBA 2K10. Pretty much a lot of the third-party stuff. Plus Metroid Prime Trilogy, which is interesting. Metroid Prime Trilogy, a premium 3-game collection for the Wii console. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess they just kind of throw it here because, like, it was kind of a limited release. And, you know, it isn't necessarily, like, new games. Even though, like, you know, we get Metroid Prime 1 and 2 from the GameCube on Wii, kind of in, like, the new play control setup. But, yeah, that's interesting that they kind of just threw that in there. Whoa, wait a sec. Published by Retro Studios? I think somebody messed up. I don't think this was meant to be here. I think they weirdly considered this, like, a part of the third-party lineup. That's kind of weird. But we have Need for Speed Nitro, which was made for the Wii and DS. This was kind of like the Nintendo version of Need for Speed. Tony Hawk Ride, which is generally considered like one of the worst things that ever happened. Damn, skateboard doesn't work. It's weird. Like, why? That would have been at least nice if they included balance board support. So it's just like, yeah, the skateboard doesn't work. You can at least use the balance board. Avatar the game. I remember playing like a really crappy iPhone version of Avatar the game, published by Gameloft. It was like the free version. I remember playing that, and it looked like a PS1 game pretty much. And then at the very end, it's pretty much just all talking about a bunch of shooters. You know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Reflex Edition, which is a very good port of Modern Warfare from the Xbox 360 and PS3. Like, it's really good on here. Probably like the best Call of Duty was on Wii. And this came out right alongside like Modern Warfare 2, which is weird because a lot of the other Call of Duty games came out day and date on Wii and the other platforms like World at War, Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3. But for some reason, Modern Warfare 2 never got a Wii version, and instead they ported Modern Warfare, the original one. But no, I mean, like, it's a damn good version of the game. You also got the Dark Side Chronicles. You know what's weird about the Dark Side Chronicles? It's like a Wii game on my shelf that doesn't have the Wii logo on the spine. Who knows why? But yeah, I've only played the Umbrella Chronicles. Dark Side Chronicles is the follow-up that focuses on like Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica. Pretty much these games are like, oh, they're retellings of old Resident Evil games, but as like a rail arcade shooter. which is interesting. Dead Space Extraction is also a rail shooter. So these are kind of like, while the Xbox 360 and PS3 are getting, the mainline games in these series, the Wii got some rail shooters. It's kind of an interesting like consolation prize where they were able to put like new entries in these series on the Wii and also bring like some cool like arcadey style gameplay into there because it just worked better with the Wii's power level and it's a controller. I move over here, which just like a very nice full 2-page spread of just some good old Wii fun, and that's it. Well, hot damn, that's the Nintendo catalog from 2009 to 2010. Honestly, it brings back a lot of memories looking back at this, but, to be honest, this was definitely kind of like a lower end time for Nintendo. It didn't really feel like they were firing at all cylinders at the time. They had some big heavy hitters. You have New Super Mario Brothers, some Pokemon stuff. But overall, you're seeing even like with the third-party software, it's getting a little sparse. And, moving into 2010, I think third-party stuff was definitely drying up even more so. But at the very least, the first-party output from Nintendo became really good with stuff like, Mario Galaxy 2, Donkey Kong, some good stuff. But this was definitely kind of like an awkward middle phase for like the Wii generation, and also kind of like a weird time for the DS's. There was still some big stuff, but they were also kind of like going into the next generation with the 3DS getting revealed in 2010. But damn, that just doesn't feel fair for me to say. Any 2 years with Bakugan Battle Brawlers in it are awkward. Wow, that's not cool for me to say. Yeah, I can't keep going on like this. I don't know anything about any of this shit.